The important thing to keep in mind, I'm not sure a lot of folks fully appreciate this, there are actually hundreds of miles of border wall that exists today. There are walls, El Paso, San Diego, Yuba, they're all over. There are hundreds of miles of border walls that exist today. In addition to that, there are vehicular walls. They have border walls that are designed to prevent people from passing through, and they have other walls that are designed to prevent vehicles from passing through. So according to immigration officials, including the border customs, I think it was the Customs and Border Protection director under President Obama, Mark Morgan, was just on TV saying we need to build additional wall. And he was under President Obama, the director. So there are efforts to try to increase funding for border wall, not just border wall, other things actually that we've asked for. Additional adjudication capacity. Let's process these people at the border, give them their court hearing as quickly as possible, return them back to their home country if that's where they need to be going as quickly as possible. So the president's asked for additional funds there. He's asked for additional funds for law enforcement, for additional border patrol agents to ensure that we have the actual Border Patrol agents to do the patrols. Other law enforcement personnel. He's asked for something else we've requested, in addition to the Border Patrol and the adjudication process, is detention facilities. All these people talk about family separations. Well, let's work on getting better detention facilities. And importantly, the president is asking for the ability to process asylum claims in their home countries. Don't have them come to the United States illegally and process asylum claims. And just to give you a statistic, in the last 5 years, there has been a 2,000% increase. A 2,000% increase in asylum claims coming to the United States. In addition to all of the issues that you've heard about, and helping just to explain this a little bit better, this was a PowerPoint that Secretary Nielsen from Homeland Security and the Vice President gave us. 38% increase in methamphetamines coming across the southern border, 22% increase in heroin, 73% increase in fentanyl. One of the statistics that some of the folks in the room mentioned is that we have more deaths from these drugs, from the abuse of these drugs, than we have from murders across the country. This is a crisis that we're experiencing. Just last year alone, ICE secured, or Customs and Border Protection seized about 282,000 pounds of cocaine, 248,000 pounds of methamphetamines, 6,500 pounds of heroin, 2,400 pounds of fentanyl. I mean, keep in mind, with fentanyl, for example, just a small amount can kill you. And so, just to give you one issue, I mean, all of the drug abuse, or not all, but much of the drug abuse and addiction issues that our country is experiencing, a huge percentage of it is coming across the southern border. And I don't have the site for this, but the vice president at our meeting last night said that 90% of these drugs are coming across our southern border into the United States. All of you know people who have drug addiction issues. I've actually lost a family member as a result of that, and totally get the how big of a crisis this is. Another statistic, 17,000 adults at the southern border have existing criminal records, were arrested by Customs and Border Protection just last year. In fact, look, I was reading these articles just a few days ago. This is an undocumented immigrant sentenced to federal prison for child, you can read it, but child abuse issues. This was in Zachary. Someone who was an illegal immigrant here in the United States. In fact, I think I read that he had actually been thrown out of the country once before and came back again illegally. Here was another article from November. Here was another illegal immigrant that got stopped in Baton Rouge trying to effectively smuggle other illegal immigrants into the United States. Another statistic, 6,000 gang members, including MS-13 were apprehended at the southern border by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. This one's pretty amazing. This one and the next one, pretty amazing statistics. So you hear all this noise about the children and the children being separated and all that. 60,000 unaccompanied children arrived just last year. Unaccompanied children arrived last year at the southern border. That's a 25% increase. 161,000 family units arrived last year, which is a 50% increase in those folks coming. The family units coming, I mentioned earlier, we've experienced a 2,000% increase in asylum claims in the last 5 years. And here's one that's really impactful. And this is at 31%. This is a Doctors Without Borders statistic. A Doctors Without Borders statistic. 31% of the women making the trek up to our southern border have said that they've been sexually assaulted on that journey. So look, these are not good people that are involved in some of this immigration and smuggling that's going on. The people that are willing to break the law to illegally come into the United States, it gives some indication on the type of people that we're talking about. So look, I want to be clear. I don't think that this has been handled well by anyone, and I'll go ahead and spread the guilt around. I do not think this has been handled well. The way that the Senate did it, some folks in the House, some folks in the administration, I don't. But I do support the fact that the statistics speak very loudly. One of the other statistics, the Committee on Homeland Security chairman or the ranking member briefed us, there was an 86% increase in illegal aliens attempting to come into the United States in the last 2 months compared to the same months last year. 86% increase. So there truly is a problem. This is drugs. This is transnational criminal organizations. This is human trafficking. This is sexual assaults. All sorts of things that are not good for the United States. So I do support the president's request for additional funds for adjudication for Border Patrol agents, but I think that this has been a manufactured crisis. You have President Obama, who has spoken about support for offense and border security. You have Chuck Schumer has voted for this and supported. In fact, when President Obama was president, up until 2011, he was still building miles and miles of fence or wall. So I'll stop on my tangent. I want to get to y'all's questions, but certainly I do believe that this is a manufactured crisis. I think you have people in the Democrat Party that have looked at this and said, you know what, the president promised this in the campaign. Let's fight and try and make it not happen. I think you have the White House folks that are saying, oh, we got to get this done, and I think that there's just a big battle. I think the president last night laying out sort of the case, the facts for this, I thought it made sense. I thought that the response from Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi was, I just thought it was rhetoric. And look, I don't like to get into all the partisan stuff, but I thought it was rhetoric. I thought the president, he mentioned some of the statistics that I just talked about and others, but this has not been handled well. So I do not support, and I don't think it's rational to try and build a wall all 2,000 miles. What I've said for years, and I'll continue saying it, a wall works in the right places. You can look at the statistics. Kevin, you come grab this document for me, please. I'm on a microphone cable, and I'm going to yank y'all down if the one right there on the table under that box. Yep. Thank you. This is from the Homeland Security Committee. San Diego, they built a wall in 1992. Illegal traffic dropped 92%. El Paso, a wall was built in 93. Illegal traffic dropped 72% in 1 year, 95% over 22 years. Tucson, built in 2000. Illegal traffic dropped 90% over 15 years. Yuma, built in 2005. and just to be clear, these were the initial walls. This doesn't mean all the extensions construction continued even in the Obama administration. Yuma, built in 2005, illegal traffic dropped 95% over 9 years. So I think walls in the right places work. When you have big open expanses, walls maybe aren't the most cost-effective approach. That's why I have advocated for, and even the president has talked about, things like Border Patrol agents, sensors, drones, other security measures in areas where other approaches are more cost effective. Again, sensors, cameras, drones, Border Patrol agents, and other things. I think you really have to adapt your border security technology to the conditions on the ground. So that's my 2 cents for the 2,000-mile border that we have between U.S. and Mexico. We did not vote for or elect the president of Mexico. We do not agree with a lot of the heinous murders and crimes that are happening there. I think that's one of the many reasons why we need to distinguish our country from theirs, and we need to reform our legal immigration process as well, and we need to enforce the law. The 3 pillars that I have stated for years that I will continue to advocate for and support. But I want to say again, I think the president has asked for some things that we've been advocating for that I think are really important, including additional immigration judges to quickly adjudicate people at the border and not leave them in these detention facilities for long periods of time, additional law enforcement, border security agents, and also investments in detention facilities.